Hey friends, Ash here with GENTSTEN. How are you doing? Cheapies, they don't have to suck. They're not like your girlfriend. Ooh. I'm just playing. Cheap fragrances, inexpensive scents. Some people will view all fragrances below a certain monetary threshold as just being automatic trash, which I think is not the way to view things. Everything is its own individual fragrance, and price point at the end of the day really doesn't matter. Ultimately, what does matter is, do you like how it smells? If you answer yes, it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, maybe it does matter if you look at the price point and it's like $800, because then you're just gonna be like, oh. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, cheapies, if it smells good, it don't matter that it's cheap. So let's jump into it, guys. Let's talk about some fragrances here today that, yes, they're not gonna run you much, but guess what? They're still bangers. So of course, when I do tell you guys that these fragrances are cheap, I'm talking about from discounters. Okay, I'm not talking about at full retail. So that's what I mean when I'm saying cheap. I'm talking discounters. And when I say cheap, I'm meaning that these are under 40 bucks for a full presentation and everything. And oftentimes much, much less than that. And each one of these will be linked below. Let's jump into it first off with the Ferrari fragrance. Now, for a time, everybody was loving on Ferrari scents because you could get them for cheap from discounters, and most of them were really good as far as the quality goes for the price point that you were paying. You know, if you pay 20 bucks and the fragrance smells really nice, that's a win-win. But Ferrari has kind of gotten out of the fragrance game, and that has made their fragrances harder to find at discounters, well, the ones that are in demand. This one, though, you can find as of this video for in the like low $20 range. It's Ferrari Womo. Now, of course, Radiant Bergamot and Bright Neroli, those are the ones that got the most hype, the most love. But this one is very solid too, especially for people out there who love the smell of Fahrenheit. That's right, Dior Fahrenheit. This is a very good alternative to that fragrance for a much lower price point. It's a leather fragrance, a little bit of tonka, a bit of citrus as well, and it's done by none other than Alberto Morillas. So if you're wanting a scent that's going to remind you a little bit of Dior's Fahrenheit, not quite as gasoline-y, petrol-y as Fahrenheit, but with a similar vibe, check out Ferrari Womo. For a time, that was hard to find. It wasn't at any discounters, but it's popped up there again. And as well, guys, as we go through these codes, twistedlily.com and maxaroma.com, the code is GENTS10 to save yourself 10% off their entire freaking websites, or luckyscent.com, Gents 2022. Same thing, 10% off that website. So if you want to save a little money, use those codes. Up next, 3 different fragrances from the same house, but they're all affordable and they are all solid. Paco Rabanne is the house. The first fragrance, Black XS. Now, this is a sweet scent. Yeah, it's so sweet that it makes your voice do that. Sweet. It is. Praline being one of the main notes in here, one of the things that's going to keep you coming back. And it's a fragrance that I really enjoy. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine because even though it is so sweet, it's really sexy, alluring. It's a compliment puller. It's got good performance. It's a great night out fragrance, especially in the cooler weather. It basically got completely surpassed by 1 million, of course, from the same house because you would use it in a lot of the same times. So Black XS kind of goes under the radar. But this stuff is great. And it does come in a new presentation nowadays. So this is the older style presentation. The new presentation looks more like this actually, XS, which is another one that I think is very good. So this is the new bottle style, and the new Black XS comes in a bottle that looks similar to this, well, in terms of the shape anyway. So XS is also very affordable, even more affordable than Black XS. And this smells similar to Creed's Himalaya. So that means it's very fresh, soapy, metallic, musky. Yeah, it's gonna give you that kind of vibe. And this did come out first. So that's interesting, Creed. Himalaya smells quite similar to this. You have original Santal that smells like Individuel from Mont Blanc. You have original Vetiver that smells like Mugler Cologne. That's a coincidence, I'm sure. But anyway, XS, this stuff I love it. Last Paco Rabanne we're gonna talk about, Ultra Red. Now this one is a doozy because it was discontinued and impossible to find for a long time, for years. The only place you could pick one up was eBay, and on eBay they were going for like 200, 250, sometimes more than that. It's another one that's sweet. Surprise. I mean, Paco Rabanne does a lot of sweet fragrances, but you couldn't find it. And then it popped back up at discounters. I scooped up multiple bottles. I've talked about this, and I was sure that it was gonna be gone like that. And yet Ultra Red is still available and for a good price. And this one is a sweet orange fragrance with, once again, kind of a praline vibe to it. And it smells a bit similar to Ultra Zest from Mugler, which is still very difficult to find. So if you like Ultra Zest or you want something like that, this right here. Let's do a couple clones up next. First off, this guy from Latava, Abiad Rouge. Now this you can get for under $20 at Fragrance Buy. Really, really cheap. And it's a clone of Baccarat Rouge 540. And for the price point, this is a great clone. Yes, there are more expensive clones out there of BR 540 that maybe smell a little bit closer to the real thing, but those clones, they cost like 2 to 3 times more than this one typically. And I've seen some that cost like 4 times the amount of this one. So if you want just absolute maximum bang for your buck and you want something that smells like Baccarat Rouge 540, get this stuff. It is surprisingly awesome for the price point. And the other clone we'll talk about is this one, which is one I got in not that long ago, and it's called Campfire from the Emir Factory Edition series. It is very heavy, the glass bottle, but it does also look kind of cheap, and your color going on here is like orange soda or something, but it is a great clone. It's an alternative to By the Fireplace from Maison Martin Margiela, and it is a darn good one. Very similar, very close to that scent. So essentially, if you want something that's going to give you those warm, spicy, sweet, slightly smoky vibes like By the Fireplace is going to do for you, get Campfire. Costs much less. Doesn't look quite as nice, but it's going to get the job done. After that, Tommy Hilfiger Impact. The original Impact that kicked everything off. And this is a 100 ml size bottle, so that means it comes with a little hidden travel spray inside the cap. Gimmicky? Yes. Keep in mind, if you get a smaller size bottle than 100 mils, you don't get the little spray in the cap. So if you want that, you gotta get the 100 mil size. So Impact is a fragrance made to be easy to wear, mass appealing, one of those scents that you can sit up on your shelf, and no matter where you're going, what time of day, what season, you grab it, you spray it, and I guess you take the cap and toss that into your pocket, your bag, your whatever. That way you can secretly reapply and always be smelling like Impact. It's got kind of a modern, slightly peppery, fresh, spicy woodiness to it. That's going to be the main draw here. Nice opening to the fragrance, easy to wear. Some people might think of it as like an out of the shower kind of scent, like a shower gel fragrance with a more of a woody, masculine vibe. And it's very affordable, nice, easygoing kind of fragrance. Impact Intense, I think, is overall the better fragrance, but Impact Intense also harder to find, typically more expensive. So once again, you're looking for bang for your buck, Impact. Now one from Ferragamo, Aqua Senziale Colonia. This smells similar to Aqua de Parma, also Colonia. Much more affordable than the Aqua de Parma. You've got a citrus aquatic opening. You have an herbal aromatic feel to the fragrance as well. Good amount of clary sage in there, ambroxan as it dries down, and also some lavender and vetiver as well in the scent. So this one is going to be a little bit more appealing probably to guys middle-aged and older. It's clean with kind of an old school vibe to it, but it doesn't smell really dated. Just has that kind of classically gentlemanly vibe to it while having a great freshness that makes it a perfect scent for both casual and formal situations in spring, summer, and early fall. Really, really, really good too when you consider that from most discounters, you can typically pick this up in the low $20 range. I actually got mine from TJ Maxx back in the day when they first started kind of liquidating, frankly, the Aqua Essenziale fragrances from Ferragamo. All three of them popped up at TJ Maxx just all over the country, and not just a couple bottles. I remember when I got mine, there were like 4 or 5 from each of the 3 fragrances in the line at TJ Maxx. And they were going for cheap, and they still are going for cheap online, which is a loss for Ferragamo. Sorry about that, but it's a win for us. Up next, we got my Sony Parfum Porum. This one, a very affordable sub $40 blue fragrance done in the style of Bleu de Chanel. So not exactly the same as Bleu de Chanel, but it's similar enough that you may be reminded of that fragrance when you spray this one on. Now, I say this every time, but I will say it once again. I got a tester, and I should not have done that. I saved a few bucks, but I don't have the magnetic cap. This is just the worst thing possible. It's not really that big a deal, but man, I would like to have a nice looking magnetic cap to complete the look. Instead, it looks like a tick's body with a little head. I don't like it, but the fragrance is really good. So, you know, win some, you lose some. So essentially with this one, you're getting citrus, grapefruit, and lemon, along with lavender, ginger, and woods in the dry down. So yeah, that note breakdown is maybe not anything that's going to blow your mind with hyper unique notes being thrown in there, but it's just a tried, tested, and true style of scent that pretty much everybody's gonna like, and the quality here is very good for the price point that you pay. And then the last one is gonna be Wow Fresh from Joop. So we started with the fragrance that has some similarities to Dior's Fahrenheit, and we end with the fragrance that has some similarities to Dior's Aqua Fahrenheit. So this one came out in 2021, but it was hard to find in the US until earlier this year when it popped up at Burlington's. So what happened was a lot of people went into Burlington's, they were buying these because it was only, for whatever reason, in the smaller bottle size at Burlington, but they were buying them and then flipping them on eBay. So that was about the only place you could find it. If you didn't have a Burlington nearby that had one, you had to buy them on eBay from somebody flipping it. But it has popped up at discounters. Fragrance Buy has it as of right now and for a good price. So this does have that violet in there, which is what's gonna give it that similarity to Aqua Fahrenheit. It's done in a much more fresh way, obviously, than the original Fahrenheit. More of a green, slightly aquatic feeling violet instead of a full-on petrol violet. Really nice, fresh bergamot in here off the top as well. I think it smells really good, super easy to wear, extremely pleasant, and another fragrance that pretty much nobody is gonna know about unless they're into fragrances. So Wow Fresh wrapping this up. And the original Wow I think is really good too. That one, bit of a similarity to CH Men. So there we go, 10 fragrances that prove cheap fragrances don't automatically suck. Somebody out there like, no, all 10 of those suck, bro. Hate them all. You're so negative, man. All right, I am out of here. Thank you all for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.